Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of council, Tuesday, March 10, 2026. We would like to begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Nlaka'pamux and Syilx people. No late items. Public input. Do we have public input? That's you. Come on up, sit down, give us your name, hit the button. Hopefully that's not your speech in front of you there. That's the one.
Okay.
You're live.
Check it. Hi, I'm actually here to,
Can you just give us your name?
my name is Melanie
No,
Griffiths,
thank you.
and I'm here hoping that you guys could approve the TUP that I've applied for to help, help stray and feral cats. So what my organization does is we trap and neuter and release stray and feral cats. And that's a big issue for Merritt. There's lots of properties with some with 40 plus cats. I provided a picture with just one property of 40 plus cats over at Trees Trailer Park, and they're exploding. And I go out and I trap cats, and like so far since June 2025 of last year, I've done 350 cats, and that was working out of my bedroom, like my house. And I would like to move this facility to 12 by 12 shed in my yard, which is at 1326 Boat Street. And all my neighbors are in favor and they're helping. They would be helping me. And I think we can clean this town up. I want to make a good impact in my community. And I think doing this would be very, very good for the town of Merritt.
Thank you. So I think if we have any questions, we probably will ask those when we actually bring it to the situation.
Yeah.
So thank Melanie. Anything else?
No.
I appreciate you coming up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, you can sit over there.
Do I push this?
I'll get you to kill that mic off. Thank you very much. Thank you, Melanie. I appreciate it. Adoption of minutes, 4.1 regular council meeting minutes, February 24th, 2026. Recommendation that the minutes of the regular council meeting held on February 24th, 2026 be adopted. Councilor Petrosi, Councilor Etchart, any errors, omissions, questions, anything else? All those in favor? Opposed, carried. General matters, delegations and recognitions. Once again, we have zooming in. We have the wonderful Base Coast crew. And I will hand it over to Base Coast. It's all over you. There we go.
Can you guys see our screen?
We can, thank you.
All right, well, we wanted to start by thanking His Worship and Council for having us. It's our 14th year in Merritt and our 18th year of Base Coast. So this is a view of the site that you don't often get to see. It's a drone shot of us on Saturday.
And I acknowledge you already did an acknowledgement, but I just wanted to say we joyfully and respectfully acknowledge that Base Coast takes place on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Nlaka'pamux and Syilx peoples. And these nations' cultures, languages, and traditions have woven into the landscape we gather on for the festival. And as we come together to celebrate, we honor their enduring presence and connection to the land and river, and we're grateful to share in it.
We want to introduce our Base Coast crew. These are the hardworking people that help build and run the festival. And this is also the first photo in 18 years that we've managed to capture of everybody prior to the festival taking off. My name is Andrea Graham. I'm the co-founder, music director. On this call, we also have Liz Thompson, who's the co-founder and art director, and Anna Hillier, our production manager.
And we like to pretend that this is what production like, but this is a little bit more like what production looks like of building the festival. So some of you have been, some of you may be new to this. What is Base Coast? It's a thoughtfully curated boutique music and art festival. We're independent. We have no corporate sponsorship. We rely solely on ticket sales. We are, and the occasional grant, which is great to receive. We're a 4-day festival. We pull in a global audience. We have people that have been coming all 18 years. It's in every way a family reunion. There's 4 stages, 120 performers, over 50 interactive art installations, and over 40 workshops. So it's much more than just a a concert. It is a music and art festival.
So we wanted to share a capacity update because in 2024 we had our biggest year ever, but in 2025 we felt the impact of both the economy and of climate change and experienced a significant drop in our attendance, as I'm sure many other businesses also felt. And so this year we are expecting a similar number to last year, which is about 5,000 people. And though it was smaller, everybody that was there said it was their favorite year on site. It was intimate, but there was space for everyone. There was a lot of care. There was a lot of joy, and it was quite a smooth event for us and the perfect weather. So we're hoping for the same this year. Our international marketing consists of live recorded sets from the festival, and some of these individual sets have reached over 31,000 views, and people are looking at Merritt and at Base Coast from around the world. So it's been quite successful sharing what we do with the world.
And the much anticipated theme for every year, this year it's Into the Deep Blue. This is how the people who attend the festival really get to participate with the shows. So this year we wanted to make it easy. So if you're coming and you have something blue in your wardrobe, you don't even need to buy anything. But a lot of people will have something blue and they'll just add on to it or get creative for the festival. So what we expect is a little bit of this on site. And we thought for the presentation, no one gets to see sneak peeks of the art, but you guys are the first. These are some of the art pieces that are going to be coming. This one up top it's really spectacular in person, but it also has headsets for an augmented reality experience on site. And it's toured all around North America. We're really excited to have it. And then there's some of our festival favorites that are returning in the pictures below.
All right, so economic impact and Merritt. In 2025, Base Coast generated approximately 4.3 million in direct spending in Merritt and the Nicola Valley, both through festival purchases directly from local businesses and then also visitor spending in town. Our attendee survey showed that about 77% of our festival goers stopped in Merritt to buy groceries, fuel, meals, and other supplies. And as many of you know, if you've been to the festival, we've always had a strong focus on sustainability, and we'll continue to work with our incredible green team on recycling, composting, river care, and education, and all of the other things that we do. But this year, for our attendee focus, we're going to focus on these 3 key messages, which are bring less, put things in the right bin, and pack out all belongings in the hopes of having even less waste go to the landfill.
With our successful Green Team program, we do have a large amount of recycling, refundable returns that we collect. And so each year we allocate the refund of those returns as well as a portion of every one of our Enviro vehicle passes to be donated to an organization or a variety of local organizations. So this is a list of some of the different groups that we've donated to in the past.
And we included this picture because we do have a returning art installation every year where people are coming to the show to get married. And there's already a list of people who are coming to the show to get married this year. And we take that as we're really proud of that. That's really special that people want to share that moment in their life with us. We're always looking for local involvement, volunteers, jobs that we're hiring for, local drivers. Golf carts are in high demand, ATVs, flat deck trailers, vacation rentals, and we have an amazing Indigenous local craft booth on site that is very popular. So we're always looking for local artists to get involved with that. If you want to get involved, info@basecoast.ca, or just simply you can always go to basecoast.ca to get anything that you need from us.
And some of you have been on this tour, but every year, one of our highlights is inviting the council and any interested members of the community on a tour of the festival on Thursday afternoon, evening. It is generally around 5 p.m. and it's a great time to come and see the festival before it is in full swing, and it allows you to get a chance to meet some of the artists building the stages, building the art installations. There is some music programming, there is an arm wrestling competition, and there are all the food vendors, and one of the bars will be open. So we want to invite you to come. There will be a sign up at the Chamber of Commerce in July. And I just wanted to share one last piece of exciting news that just happened last week. Base Coast and Good Night Out were nominated for the Changemaker of the Year award as part of the Women in Music Canada organization. So the award ceremony took place in Toronto, and there were incredible organizations from across Canada, all led by women there. And we won the award. So it was quite a surprise and quite an achievement. And it was based upon our efforts to create safer spaces, equity in production and programming, and harm reduction. So that is a lot of it is at the root of our harm reduction program led by Stacey Forrester. But I just wanted to share that exciting news with you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that's it for today. So we'd love to hear from you. Also, if you want to speak to any of us personally, it's liz@basecoast.ca, Andrea@basecoast.ca, or Anna. Or like we said before, you can just go to basecoast.ca to find us. And thank you again for sharing your community with us. We're so excited to be back.
Well, thank you, Liz, Andrea, and Anna. We always appreciate you coming. The festival has just been amazing. My wife and I have volunteered for the last 4 years, and we super enjoy it. It's so much fun to meet all these people, and everybody just there has such a fun time, and everybody's happy, and you run a tight ship. And it's one of the better festivals, I think, that runs in, if not BC, right around Canada. And we do appreciate you coming to our community and as your second home or your first home, or whichever way you want to look at it. But you're always welcome here. And we are looking forward to another great festival this year, as it always has been. So thank you very much. Council, anything for the ladies? Councillor Egan.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that I did go on your tour last year and I was absolutely amazed. I'd never been up there before. Again, it was just so well set out. I was so impressed with the safe areas, the counseling areas. If anybody felt like they were freaking out, they had a place to go. I liked the podiums for the watch, people that are on the watch. It was just amazing. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Councillor Ogan.
Yeah, thank you. So my question is about local vendors. I received an email maybe a month ago. They were asking what is the best way to reach out to you guys. I referred them to your website, but I was told that there was no response. So my question is, what is the best way for our local vendors to contact?
I'm not sure why it wouldn't have come through, but I mean, the info at we do try to respond to every message, but if they don't, you can directly reach out to me at Anna@BaseCoast or any of us. Local vendors, other than the Indigenous local nations in the local nations art booth, all of the vending is closed, but it's still, because we've already allocated all of the spaces, but it's still good for us to know, because then we can keep them on a list so that for next year we'll reach out directly for them and let them know that the applications are open.
Occasionally a space opens up too.
Yeah.
So
Thank you. Anyone else? Again, ladies, thank you very much. Look very forward to seeing you. Look forward to the Thursday night, and I think the weather will cooperate just fine, and we'll have another great festival. So thank you very much once again.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Unfinished business, we have none. Bylaws. 7.1, City of Merritt Rescue Department Establishment and Operations Amendment Bylaw number 24172026. And we have a recommendation that the City of Merritt Fire Rescue Department Establishment and Operations Amendment Bylaw number 24172026 be adopted. Councillor Etchart, Councillor Petrosi. Any questions on this in front of you? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Community Wildfire Resiliency Program, introduction by Chief Tompkinson, presented by B.A. Blackwell. Chief, I'll get you to sit there and push that button when you get a minute.
Trip members of council. The City of Merritt first authored a wildfire protection plan in 2015, and in 2024, the plan was updated by B.A. Blackwell and Associates to the new Community Wildfire Resiliency Plan format. A key reason for completing this update was to align with the current provincial standards and to ensure the city remained eligible for provincial funding that supports our wildfire mitigation, prevention, and resiliency initiatives. Wildfire preparedness continues to be an important priority for our community, and these efforts earned the City of Merritt the Community Resiliency Recognition Award in 2023, presented by FireSmart BC. I'd like to now invite Quentin Smith from B.A. Blackwell and Associates to introduce the plan and present the details to council.
Thank you very much. Chief. Good evening, and you're ready to go.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Thank you very much for having me, and Chief Tompkinson for the introduction. As mentioned, my name is Quentin Schmidt. I'm a registered professional forester with it was B.A. Blackwell and Associates at the time, but now called Blackwell Consulting. Just a quick background. I do have a work history here in Merritt and lived here for a number of years. I was not directly involved with the development of this plan. My colleagues were the ones who authored it. I'm very familiar with the contents though, but if there's any questions I don't have an answer to, I can follow up with the folks who authored the plan and we'll get some more detailed answers to you as soon as I can, but I'll do my best to transmit their information today. Awesome. So just a quick bit of background on how this plan had proceeded. So back in April 2024, a contract was signed for the plan to begin, which kicked off a few months of background review where, as Chief mentioned, there's been a number of community wildfire plans previously done for the city. So we're reviewing how recommendations from those plans have been implemented to date, and we're reviewing different funding programs and similar plans from adjacent jurisdictions. Then throughout the plan process, consultation was a big thing. So discussing the contents of the plan with adjacent jurisdictions and various local stakeholders and subject matter experts in the area. Field assessments for the plan occurred throughout June 2024. And then the information that had been gathered to date was put into draft form in the fall of 2024. And the recommendations and the draft plan itself were reviewed by Merritt Fire Rescue and BC Wildfire Service also in the fall of 2024. And then the plan was finalized in early 2025 after some feedback was received. Just a quick background on what exactly is a Community Wildfire Resiliency Plan, or I'll use the acronym CWRP. It really breaks into having two foundational parts, where one foundational part is a localized risk assessment for the plan area. A large part of this, it incorporates various locally identified values at risk. And then it also incorporates a spatial wildfire threat analysis that generally uses the three overarching components of the fire behavior triangle. So fuel, so forest types, weather, and topography. And then second foundational part of the plan is presenting kind of a toolkit of ideas to the city on different ways that they can or different actionable recommendations that the city can take to improve their wildfire resiliency. The CWRP itself can be used in a number of ways. It can be used to inform updates to various municipal plans, to expand things such as emergency response capacity, or to expand pre-existing fire smart education programs or fuel treatment programs and things such as that. As Chief mentioned, community wildfire planning is not new to Merritt. Previous plans have been completed, dated back even to 2004. And then an official community wildfire protection plan was done in 2015, which was slightly updated in 2019 as well. So this is the CWRP, is the latest iteration of this community wildfire planning. It had a slight change in geographic scope to the pre-existing plans. It's much more founded and guided by the most recent community wildfire planning framework in the province, which really is founded in the 7 fire smart disciplines, which I'll touch on in a little bit. And as this was an updated plan, a lot of the time's also spent to update fuel type mapping for the area, so forest type mapping, and also to identify different fuel treatment options surrounding the city. And we also wanted to account for the really good fire smart progress that's occurred in the community since those pre-existing plans were completed. Just for those unfamiliar, just want to highlight a few things that the city has completed in the last 2 decades or so that relate to wildfire planning. So the city did adopt a wildfire development permit area in 2011. They have established, Merritt Fire Rescue has established a quite comprehensive fire smart education strategy. And an example of that is they completed 80 fire smart individual home assessments in 2024 alone. They now have a dedicated fire smart coordinator position. There have been various updates to municipal bylaws and community planning documents as a result of these wildfire plans. There have also been a number of joint training and deployment opportunities between the fire department and BC Wildfire Service. And the fire department has been able to increase their levels of wildfire specific training, as well as their wildfire specific equipment allotments. And there have also been a number of fuel management prescriptions and fuel management treatments that have been completed surrounding the city, largely across the bench, but also along grassy slopes in Central Park, some of the forested areas surrounding the exit 286, the old info center, and just south of the rodeo grounds as well. So just a quick map of what area exactly the CWRP included. This is provincially constrained due to funding programs, but it did focus on about a 1 kilometer buffer of what we call the eligible wildland urban interface. This is essentially a 1 kilometer pre-established buffer from a certain minimum structure density. We looked both in and out of municipal boundaries as well. So it's all the area kind of within that red bubble on the map there that's filled in with various land ownership, which is shown on the map on the right. Just a few important points to note with this. Of the CWRP area, approximately 58% of it is privately held land, and this does include the majority of infrastructure-based values at risk, which really reiterates the importance of fire smart activities taking place on privately owned parcels. Some of these private parcels are large grassland or agricultural parcels, with the remainder largely being developed. About 30% of this, just under that, is Crown land, which reiterates the opportunity and need to work alongside various land managers, such as the Ministry of Forests. And then about only 5% of this area is municipally held land, which the majority is open spaces and park areas and natural areas. quickly touching on the values at risk that were identified as part of this plan. The structures were all updated and mapped for the city, which are not shown on this map. It would be quite chaotic, given the number. Critical infrastructure was also categorized and looked at. This is generally things that provide essential functioning and services during an emergency. We also mapped out various important community assets, things such as previously identified cultural or heritage values, high environmental values such as species at risk habitats, and recreation values as well. Just quickly touch on, we categorized the area that is not private land within the plan area as a certain fuel type or a forest type. This follows a nationally and provincially standardized fuel typing approach. I won't dive into this too much right now, but I'll follow up with a few photos and happy to talk about it some more. But about 30% of the area fell into kind of lower density open canopy forest types, dominated with Douglas fir and ponderosa pine. 32% of it is more open grassland or native shrub communities. And about a third of this as well is classified as what we think of as non-fuel, so low flammability areas. Just some quick photos here to put photos to the ideas. Forests on the left, which I'm sure we're all familiar with seeing, is more of that C7 fuel type, which surrounds much of the city. So much more open canopy forests that generally would support a continuous surface fire with, we call it torching of individual trees or clumps of trees. And then a small proportion surrounding the city was categorized as what we call C3. So a much higher density forest with lots of dead standing trees, and higher continuity of fuel. And those forest types are more likely to support passive and active crown fires. Just want to show a quick few maps here on, we assessed the fire history in a 5-kilometer buffer of the city. This map here shows both historic fire ignitions, human and lightning caused since 1950. The associated graph does show different causation. Just the takeaway there is the orange bars are human caused ignitions. So obviously those drastically outweigh the lightning caused ignitions, which I'm sure comes as no surprise. Whoops. We're dying here. You can click if you want. There we go. Same map here, but just want to, this graph also shows that the y-axis is cumulative hectares burned in this 5-kilometer area surrounding the city. Extensive records of burned area in the early 1900s, and it goes without saying there's extensive use of cultural fire by local Indigenous communities that predates this by a long time, and just shows the deficit of fire in the previous decades, and really a buildup of fuel on the landscape. I think it's working. Nice. Just the last bit on the threat assessment that was completed as part of the CWRP. So again, this did not incorporate private land components. So of the area outside of private land boundaries, about 13 and 14% respectively fell into either extreme or high threat categories. This mostly occurred in higher elevation forests with higher density of forested areas, but also on steep and south facing, very exposed slopes. And about a third of the area fell into a more moderate threat category. So less dense forests, more open grassland areas, or on lower slopes or more neutral aspects. Few unique risk factors to Merritt. As we all know, Merritt has extremely high fire danger ratings all throughout the fire season, as the valley has consistently high winds throughout the day. There are large continuous grass and shrub areas surrounding the city, and found within various neighborhoods. And the high percentage of private land is also quite unique, which contains both developed areas, but also continuous grassland areas. And then there is very considerable recreation use, a lot of which is motorized in the adjacent forested areas. All right, so with the first part aside, I'll finish up here focusing on the action plan that was presented as part of this CWRP. So my colleagues presented 41 separate recommendations to the city, essentially as a toolbox of options for how they can pursue improving their wildfire resilience in different ways. Each of these recommendations, we've assigned a certain priority rating, a rationale for why the recommendation is important, and then we've shed light on who some of the lead parties might be and things such as timeframes for these recommendations, various metrics for success, and then where available, we've also shed light on potential funding sources. The recommendations themselves are rooted and categorized into the 7 Fire Smart disciplines and also build off of previous community wildfire recommendations. These 7 disciplines here are listed in bold, but they're categorized first by education. So this is education initiatives for both residents and industry or agricultural land managers, as well as education in schools and with various recreation groups. Looking at recommendations dealing with legislation and planning, so where municipal bylaws can be updated, recommendations on improvements to certain development considerations, as well as interagency cooperation, looking at different cross-training opportunities and improvements to fire department resources, and then also looking at ways to improve emergency planning and continuing vegetation management programs that have been established in the city, both in terms of fuel management treatments, but also at the residential Fire Smart scale. Just a list here of some of the higher priority recommendations that were keyed out in the plan, one of which is to continue funding a Fire Smart coordinator, which is a critical position to moving these recommendations ahead. Second recommendation is promoting wildfire preparedness with various local agriculture operators and rural property owners. Third is establishing a program of something similar to community chipping days. So providing different pathways where residents can remove highly flammable landscaping from their properties, often thought of as those cedar and juniper hedges. Also recommending various wildfire specific training for newly hired fire department staff and continued joint training with BC Wildfire Service and local fire departments. Also recommending extended training for emergency operations center staff and holding tabletop exercises that are specific to wildfire response. And finally, completing various fuel management prescriptions or updating various fuel management prescriptions and treatments surrounding the city. Just to touch on a few specifics on those fuel treatment units and things that have previously occurred in the area. On this map, there's a few purple polygons outlined on the top end, so the north end of the map. These are referred to as treatment units B and C, so largely covering most of the area above the bench. These are all previously fuel treated areas that now host grass dominated ecosystems, and recommending looking at options to maintain these areas with low intensity prescribed surface fires to keep them low threat, but also healthy and functioning ecosystems. In the southwest of the map, there's a purple polygon labeled TUF, which is just upslope of the rodeo grounds. This area has been partially treated in the past in kind by BC Wildfire Service, but recommending this area continue to be fully or have fuel management completed in the entirety of the area. And then there's further extensions on this with treatment unit G, which is a yellow polygon. Further from that rodeo grounds polygon, this does fall on Crown land, so recommending looking at collaborative ways to complete this with the Ministry of Forests. And the same goes for treatment unit H, which is off in the southeast of town. I apologize, they're hard to see on the map with the yellow outline, but it's up above exit 286. Just some example photos of recently completed fuel management treatments in the area. For those who are unfamiliar, post-treatment stand types or forest types are shown there on the left. These generally have reduced surface fuels and what we call ladder fuels, and they still sustain a very healthy and functioning ecosystem. These are not total fire breaks. They're still very capable of holding or hosting a surface fire within them, but albeit at a low intensity that first responders can safely action. And an example of some pre-treatment stands on the right. So high proportions of dead and suppressed trees and very limited surface vegetation and what we call low resilience in individual trees. I'll just finish off with a few more moderate priority recommendations. First example is to increase the amount of fire danger signage within the city and in some key adjacent areas. Looking at expanding fire smart education programs in the local schools and with local recreation sites. Specifically looking at some bylaw updates to emergency planning documents, and then expanding both fire smart and wildfire training in the local fire department and with a subset of municipal staff. Also working on different fire risk reduction practices with industrial operators. And lastly, assisting seniors and or vulnerable populations with completing fire smart work on their properties. That's it for me. I apologize. I probably ran late with that. I wasn't sure if there was a strict timeline, but I'm happy to answer questions to the best of my ability if folks have them. If not, I can follow up with you.
Thank you. Councillor Etcher.
Thanks for the presentation. It was very detailed and very informative. So a number of us had seen the video, the BC's Burning video, which is talking about a lot of the things that you mentioned in the presentation. And a lot of the lands in B and C there were in the north part of the bench where a lot of it's crown land. So are you finding the accessibility to get into those areas a challenge because of it being crown land, getting permission to thin those areas out, or?
So part of it, challenges in part are tied to the available funding programs in the province, because when proposed or active fuel treatment units are on, let's say, municipal land, it's much more streamlined for the municipality to plan and complete those treatments. Given the current funding structure in the province, it's a little more challenging on crown land, or it just takes a bit more coordination with the Ministry of Forests and the available funding programs. Yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, and when they do the thinning of the dead standing trees, is it given as fuel for the energy plant, like the green energy or anything, or is that just a whole separate thing with stumpage?
Good question. Generally at the volume of fuel that's created from these smaller treatment areas, it is not brought just for economic and logistic reasons to the green energy plant. Oftentimes these treatments are completed manually as well. So just crews generally hiking in and doing the work by hand with chainsaws. So we're trying to have a light touch on the grassland ecosystems and environments in the area. So removing that material, now bringing heavy equipment in or machinery in, which can be challenging. So at this scope, generally the volume of material that's cut is not brought to the plant, but the right project in the right place, that can definitely be an option.
So then are the piles like slash piles and are they burnt on site or are they just?
Generally, in the previous treatments here, that has been the case, and they're usually built into 2 meter by 2 meter by 3 meter hand piles and then burnt in the winter. Some areas, the material, there's so little, it can just be scattered on the site, especially if the area is going to have a follow-up prescribed or cultural fire applied to the site. That can be an option, but usually piled.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Councilor Petrosi.
Quentin, thank you for the presentation. Just adding to Councillor Etchard's comments on Crown land access, yearly blowdown, like removal, safety, is that a yearly thing to access these lands to, just with all the winds and all the blowdown that happens for safety and fuel? Is that kind of a yearly thing that happens?
It's a good question. So generally, we do recommend that the fuel treatment sites are revisited after kind of major disturbance events, if there is wind throw. Realistically, it can be difficult to assess all the sites on an annual basis. And a lot of the time with the initial pass of treatment, we'll look at removing some of those more vulnerable trees to wind throw. So we'll try to proactively remove some of the less healthy or stressed
Right,
trees,
right.
and certain species are more wind firm than others. So we prioritize those for retention. But
Okay,
does
thank
that
you.
help?
And getting back to the fire history for ignitions, I thought quite interesting in the 2000s that people caused or persons caused 160. That was quite high. Is it education or less access to the backcountry now that's causing less ignitions by people, or just more it's more education, I guess? What's your thoughts?
I guess my knee-jerk reaction would be better education. I do believe that with that was all publicly accessible data from BC Wildfire, and they have changed their methods over the decades on which fires have exactly been counted as fires. So abandoned campfires, I believe, there were certain decades they were counted as ignitions and some
okay.
they weren't, which
Right.
could inflate or skew statistics possibly.
Great.
That's not an expert answer. That's a bit of knee-jerk
Okay.
reaction, but yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sure Chief would have some thoughts on ignitions as well.
Right, thank you.
Mhm.
Councilor Egan.
Yeah, thank you. Really interesting. I have a couple questions. First, and excuse my ignorance, but who is our Fire Smart coordinator?
His name is Stephen Rempel. He's with Merritt Fire Rescue. I'm not sure his position in the fire department.
Okay.
Lieutenant.
And again, talking about above the bench area on the Crown land and clearing out some of these places that have all this deadwood, do you employ local loggers for that at all?
And Chief will be able to speak to this well, but generally these do go out to an open bid process, and there are local companies that specialize in this work. Sometimes loggers are looking for more mechanized treatments, and so if these are manual based treatments, it's much more specialized crews that take this work on, but it's generally out through an open bid process.
Okay, and then also the fire barrier that was prepared or instigated years ago by Tom Lacey, is that still protecting that area up there?
It absolutely assists. So the Tom Lacey Trail and the network of trails there absolutely assist. And especially nowadays when we look at opportunities to maintain those areas in a low threat state, possibly through the use of some small prescribed or cultural fires. When there are features on the landscape like that trail that really assists crews in performing that work. So yeah.
Okay, and I really like that your summary where you said these are the things we need to focus on, but do you really feel, I mean, are we protected here in town?
Every town has, I don't want too diplomatic of an answer. Every town is exposed to wildfire risks, absolutely. Merritt is in a very dry part of the province. As presented, there's a number of continuously forested and continuous grassland areas adjacent to the town. So there are risks present to the city. But I do think a lot of the work that has gone on to date has been very positive. I think there's a lot of work to continue to go. And a lot of the work previously has been focused on the perimeters around town. But when it comes to protecting the infrastructure that's within the town itself, that requires a lot of work from we say the value out. So the house out, the pump station out, things like that. So there's a lot of work to go, and not just in Merritt, but in, I'd say, every community in the province in terms of better protecting themselves through fire smart initiatives. But the work to date in Merritt has been great. And I think they've got a good step forward and hopefully a good plan to help the next phases here.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Charney.
Thank you. It's an excellent presentation, very extensive. I see that vegetation management is a high priority for Merritt. I don't think that, unless I have missed it over the years, we've never had a yard waste week or weekend. And I think that's something that's very simple for us to implement, because some people don't have access to a truck or a trailer to take their yard waste to the landfill. So maybe that's something that, as we as a council could instigate, is a vegetation management, as it is a high priority here. Something that's probably fairly simple to instigate. So that's one thing. And I read through your high priorities and I see some of them that I think were spot on, and or working towards getting that final goal. So excellent report. Thank you.
Councillor Hogan.
Thank you. So I have a question for Quentin and one for staff. So Quentin, wildfires, it's a big issue in our community. And as a result, I met with some experts in the industry. And there is a topic that came coming back, timber spacing. When I read your presentation, I didn't see a lot of information about that one. So is that something that should we also consider, or that's something that has been done? So can you expand on that?
Yeah, so spacing and there's a number of avenues we could go to discuss this. I could talk about it for a few hours, but spacing and thinning treatments in forest stands are very site specific and very ecosystem specific. In the forests surrounding Merritt here, which are very dry ecosystems, the fuel management treatment areas that we've identified and where work has already been done is essentially spacing of those forest stands. So it's reducing the density of trees while also cleaning up deadfall and things like that. So yeah, there's already a great treatment regime surrounding the city. Industry may be focused at higher elevation areas where, yeah, that does open a can of worms in terms of silvicultural interventions, but.
Thank you. And for the staff, so when we talk about wildfires, I feel that there are no boundaries. So how is our city coordinating with the neighboring organizations such as First Nation, ranches, maybe the Crown, or in this case, the province? So how are we doing the wildfire prevention and in coordination with all these organizations?
Seal.
Thank you, Worship. We could probably talk to the chief about that. He's probably got a pretty good handle on it. He's got a minute.
So you, Quentin.
So a lot of what we've been talking about is not new. So the areas on the bench have had stand modification, exactly what you're talking about. I think there's been some misinformation out there in the community with respect to what we haven't done. And the reality is these treatment units have received their stand modification and are now in the maintenance phase. Now, with respect to working with our neighbors, there's different funding through different measures. So right now we use the CRI funding to complete all our fuel management treatments. But outside the community, there's something called wildfire risk reduction funding, which is Cascades Forest District implements a lot of that, but our neighbors are doing great work all around us, and that includes Lower Nicola Indian Band, different organizations such as that. So we're reaping the benefit of some of the fuel management they're completing adjacent to our boundaries. With respect to education and whatnot, we're basically just staying within the City of Merritt boundaries. The regional district has their own Fire Smart coordinator, and they should reach out as well as BC Wildfire to those rural areas, and so too does the local bands. So our education program, and based on the hours and the funding that we have, is really focused within our community. So we don't go outside. What I will say is that we've had the benefit from a response point of view to go outside our boundaries with the mayor or the CAO's permission to perform initial attack on fires and things like that. And the fire that we're at currently, we're actioning with the Lower Nicola Fire Department, which is outside their area of response.
Yeah, thank you. This question is for you anyways, because last year I thought, and this is in regards to the vegetation program, did you not have a program last year for so many properties within a certain budget to remove cedars?
That's correct. So we have a homeowner rebate program, which we're offering again this year, up to $2,500 of matching funds to complete all those type of mitigation work on your private property. We also had 3 chipping days last year, and we've just advertised for 3 more this year. We've also had where we've rented construction bins, or I guess we'll call them contractor bins, and placed them strategically throughout certain neighborhoods where homeowners can actually bring their yard waste, and as opposed to having to haul it out to the dump, we will take that waste out. And that's all been 100% funded through grant funding. So no rooftop taxes have paid for any fuel mitigation or any of those other mitigation activities. So I might as well just stand on the soapbox right now. We don't know the future of the CRI funding right now with the provincial budget that's been put forward, but we're anxiously waiting.
Councilor Petrosi.
Have you got the dates for the dropping of the bins, or it's kind of up in the air what days?
I think it's on our website now.
Okay.
I don't have them off the cuff,
But it is on the website.
Yes, so there's 3 dates that have been advertised. I think the first one is in May.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Quentin. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I would suggest you hold on to the briefing that you got. Pardon me? This one, if you want to. It's quite extensive. So I've got to head over to we can do one of 2 things. We can take a 10-minute break, or whoever the deputy mayor could sit in for me. Do you want me? I'm only going to be about 8 minutes, and I'll be right back. Okay, let's stay. Sorry about that. I got to drop a puck at the hockey game, so I'll be right back. We are back in session. Thank you very much for that delay. So I could drop the puck. Appreciate it. 8.2, temporary use permit 2026-001-1326 Vote Street. This is an opportunity for input. We have 2 recommendations. We'll do the first one. Recommendation that council direct staff to approve the temporary use permit for 1326 Vote Street to allow for the use of animal boarding, a cat rescue, upon issuance of a building permit. Councilor Ogun, Councilor Petrosi, questions? Everybody lights up. Let's see who the winner is. Councilor Ogun.
So can I just ask staff to provide a quick overview of this agenda item before I ask my questions?
Oh. Mr. Jenny, up to you.
You have received a temporary use permit application for
to allow a use of animal boarding, which is a non-allowable use at this property. We did, staff did mail out the application, staff did met their statutory obligations regarding the advertisement. So we did the mail out from the 50 meters from the subject property. And then we did publish advertisement in Merit Herald. We have received one comment, and then we have been provided a printout of the email that have been received, which is basically one of the committee members is supporting the temporary use application. During the file review, we noted that there is also a section 57 on the subject property. That section 57 was issued in 2023 July, and it was regarding an illegal basement suite. The former building officials tried to work with the owner, and then that big basement suite is now legalized, but there are still some building code infractions regarding the main house, and building officials has been working separately to deal with those building code violations. And then overall, staff is recommending council to direct staff to whether council wants to support this temporary use application or not. The use is happening on a 12 by 12 shed, which requires a building permit application. So we haven't received a building permit application yet, but staff will work with the applicant regarding that building permit applications. And then once that BP is issued, then we will issue a temporary use permit application. But because of the cat rescue use, it may impact neighboring properties. That's why we wanted to bring these applications for council consideration, so that you can make an informed decisions.
Thank you. So just to bring council up to date, Melanie came to see me over a year ago to talk about this. And we have had issues in the past with other cat rescues that did not follow bylaws. And Melanie was very aware, and her crew were very aware that they had to follow procedure, and they have been doing that. So they have been doing everything they're supposed to be doing as they get to this. And that's why this is temporary use. It's not meant to be a forever situation. So I just want to let you know that they have been working with us and staff to make sure this goes in correctly. And that's where we're at. So let me see who's next. Councillor Baxter. Oh, everybody's on. Councillor Baxter.
Okay, so what you're recommending is having a building permit. So you guys are gonna work with her to get a building permit?
We will, the building officials will work with the owner of the property. I think Melanie is one of the tenant of the property. So we are directly dealing with the owner regarding the building permit requirements. So there are section 57 infractions that will be dealt separately. And for the cat rescue use is happening at 12 by 12 shed, which requires a building permit. And I think in the recommendation, the applicant has also requested council to waive off the temporary use application fee, which she has already paid. So that is also one of the another
next on the list. So we have two recommendations.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Councillor Petrosi.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I wanted to ask, if Melanie actually owns that property or was renting. And how long have you lived there? Okay. Anyway, you had mentioned holding 8 cats.
So if we're gonna have Melanie speak, we need her to come to the mic, because people online cannot hear what's going on. So we'll just make a moment. So Councillor Petrosi, I'll ask you that first question again, so Melanie can respond.
So that first question about how long you'd lived there, whether you own that property, that home?
I'm renting, and I moved there in June 2025, and there was a colony of 20 cats there, and that's what started this. And so what I'm proposing is I have I want to have a 12 by 12 shed, and it'll house 8 cats, no more than 8 cats. So it's got 8 kennels, stacked 2 by 2, 8 kennels. And I'm working with Okanagan Humane Society. So they basically, I trap them and I hold them until their appointment date, which is roughly anywhere between a week or less. They'll be in the kennel, and then I transport them. I have a transporter who picks them up from the house, transports them to Okanagan Humane Society and back the very same day. And then we re-release them to the property that they were trapped on if they have a caregiver to care for them there. But they be fixed, microchipped, vaccinated, dewormed, all of the above, which cuts down on spread of disease population, because one cat, one male, one female, can produce 12,500 cats in 5 years.
So what, that's 8 cats. Where are the other cats you're dealing with? Are they in the house or?
No,
are there
no,
more?
no, this is specifically to the shed. So I have 8 cats, okay? That's what I can hold. So once I transport 4 at a time. So four will go to Okanagan Humane Society, get fixed, come back, and then get re-released. So those cats are now fixed and can live out the rest of their life as feral cats. If they are adoptable cats or kittens, which season is coming up pretty quick, then Okanagan Humane Society adopts them out from there. So I don't ever have an influx of cats. So there's never like hoarding or, you know, any of that stuff. So I don't even have to hold kittens until they get adopted or wait for somebody to come adopt. It's only the 8 kennels, the 8 cats. We're focusing more on the feral population because that's where the problem is the feral population, because it explodes. And we're also hoping in the future to implement a program for helping people spay and neuter their pets at a cheaper cost.
Okay, one other question and I'll pass it around. The cat waste and the cat litter, where is that stored? How do you get rid of that?
So I have a chicken coop. That was on the property already. So it's I rent from the Nesties, Jason Nesty. So I have a chicken coop that's it's very small, but I can store things in it. So I've been storing cat litter in there. I'm very clean. I'm a very clean person. So cat waste, all that stuff I have it donated to me through the SPCA. I work with the SPCA as well, Pet Value, a number of different organizations. Then I get it donated to me. So, and not to mention, I've been spending out of my own pocket to do it as well.
Right.
But it's very passionate. Like I'm very passionate about
Yeah,
it.
I just had a concern just being so close to Claybanks, heat of the summer,
Oh yeah, for sure.
the winds, the odors, things like that. So
For sure, there's no odor in there, and I have 8 cats in there right now. I clean it every day. I get rid of the waste every day. It's the cat litter and stuff. I take it to the dump, like we do regular dump runs. So it's a very clean facility. I could show you a video of the whole unit. I have a camera in there. I'd have heater in there. And come the summer, like there's windows, so I can have ventilation. And then I was thinking about putting an air conditioner in there too, because it will get hot, right? So.
okay, thank you.
Councillor Egan.
Yeah, well, that answered quite a few of the questions that I had. I'm just concerned about it. You've got it on the fence next to Claybanks. Is there a room, is there room anywhere else on the property that you could move it to? So
So where it is it's not right next to the river. It's there's a lot in between, and then there's the Claybanks RV park. So there's nobody in that lot. Oh, it's an empty lot. The neighbor on the far end back here, they're in support of it, and it's a fair distance from where the shed is to that. And then the neighbor on this side behind, he's in support of it too. He actually is providing me some materials for flooring, so I can, you know, fix the floor and all that kind of stuff. So like there's no immediate people around to impact.
great. And we did get a letter from somebody. And is this Teresa Tonks? Is she one of your neighbors?
She is one of my neighbors. She's in support. I also have Randy and Lori. They were gonna write me a letter, but they fell under the weather of support. But they are in support. They're my immediate neighbors. So there's
great.
lots of people that do support this.
Thank you.
Councillor Richard.
Thanks, Melanie, for all the information and all the answers. What I like best about this application is that somebody really has to kind of tackle this project, and it's not easy. And I like that Melanie has come to us with this permit. She's applying for it. She's not trying to do anything sneaky and just run it out of the home. And I think that sometimes we may have our concerns with, you know, odors or overcrowding, but she has a plan, and I think that we need to give it some consideration, because if not, somebody's just going to run it out of their house, and could be a problem, but this, I know the home and I know Melanie and I have full faith in this and I think we need to support it.
Thank you.
Counselor Rogan. Oh, I'm sorry, Counselor Turner.
Thank you, Melanie. I agree we need a program for feral cats. It is an extreme problem in all communities. My concern is the location.
Mhm.
It is residentially zoned.
Mhm.
And so therefore we make this exception. And so now we set a precedent within the community.
Yep.
So now my neighbor can say, well, I'm going to have cats too, or I'm going to have dogs. So I want to protect residential areas so they stay residential.
Yeah.
I just have a few questions. A lot have been answered already. Your food storage, is it so the mice are not able to get into the food
I
containers?
also store the cat litter in the chicken coop. I store food inside my own house.
Okay.
So I have a shelf designated for food. Not that I have an overwhelming amount of food, but I don't really need an overwhelming amount of food to sustain 8 cats. And I also sustain the 20 cat colony that's on the property already, that are all fixed, by the way. I got them all fixed. But no, the mice are not a problem considering I have 20 cats in the yard.
And I see that you just have an extension cord running to the building.
Yep.
So I have a concern with regards to if you have an air conditioner or a heater in the winter, whether there could be fires related to that, because I don't know very many. Well, I'm not an electrician,
Right.
very ignorant on that, but
We
I know that an extension cord running from quite a distance probably isn't enough to run an air conditioner. And that was one of my concerns with the heat and the cold.
You're 100% right.
So if I could interject here, this is why you'll be working with the
Open
development
up.
services on the building.
On the-
This is why you'll be working with development services on the building permit.
Absolutely.
That will be covered at that point. The extension cord would be gone.
Yep.
And a correct power hookup with the box and everything would be in that building.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is that correct, Mr. Janney? Thank you.
Okay, so that would be taken care of. You'll have, okay, that's
Mhm.
great. Do you have to have a business license to run this?
I am a nonprofit organization.
Okay.
I went through
Okay.
those steps.
Okay. And are there any health standards that you have to meet with regards to having these cats?
Like, for instance, if
Like, is
Stick-
there a standard, like vets have to have a standard in that? Do you have to have any standard to
it has to be clean. Like cats carry a lot of diseases. They carry like they sometimes have ringworm, which is really, really contagious and bad. But that's why the shed idea is actually really good because they're contained. And then they go from my kennels directly to a vet. And then they're checked for diseases. They're checked for everything. They get their spay, their vaccination, their microchip, their dewormer, any other medical cares they need as well. And then they get brought back. If they need extensive medical care, like say they have an injury to their arm or something like that, or say if they have ringworm, or they'll be kept by Okanagan Humane Society. They will be contained, quarantined, and then taken care of for the time period, set up with a foster in Kelowna, and then sent back or adopted out.
Okay, and so these kennels are large enough that they've got their litter box in there and water and food?
Litter box, bed, water dishes, food dishes, and sometimes I can fit a little cat post in there too. They're extra large dog kennels, so they can fit a Saint Bernard in it.
I believe one of those kennels was mine.
Yes, sir.
Donated to Councilor Rogan.
I just want to say thank you. You saw a problem and you acted on it. So my question it is about that. You created a society. I was looking into the internet. So you created a society last year, April 2025. There are 2 other directors for this society.
Yeah.
You created a constitution that it says that you cannot have up to more than 8 cats at some time in the property.
Mhm.
I want to ask you about your long-term plan. So what you're doing is great. And I'm concerned about the location as well.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that if the TUP is approved today,
Yeah.
it's only for 1.5 years.
Right.
What is your long-term plan for this?
Well, eventually I want to be able to rent a facility of some sort, or I don't want to build up like a shed is just a temporary because you can't control the weather in there, right? You can't control the heat, you can't control the cold, you can't control any of that. To a point you can, but you know, sometimes we get really harsh heats and really harsh winters, right? But I want to eventually get a facility on the outskirts of town. Once this succeeds and takes off, and then we get better foothold, better standing, I want to present this plan and this procedure because it's working. It's working what we're doing, like this plan. So we're actually doing a lot of animals within a short period of time. I've already done 350 cats just last year, and then 11 within the past couple days there. But eventually, I want to move into a building.
Thank you. And again, so I would be in favor or supporting this APU, but not an extension. So I would like to mention for you from the beginning. So if you have to have a long-term plan within the 1 year and a half, that if this is approved. My question to staff, when the letters were mailed out to neighboring properties, you mentioned some positive feedback. So was there any negative feedback for this?
Yeah.
Thank you, Worship. We'll take the head shake as a no. I think we had feedback from that one person that you have the email for.
Okay, thank you.
So for myself, I appreciate the fact that you came a little over a year ago. We discussed this, and you had some plans. I see you've moved ahead with your plans. I think this is what we need to work on this situation. On your website, do you have a spot where people can donate to help a future larger home for this, or do you plan on doing that?
I do plan on doing that.
And I guess the question being is because I have a 36-year-old daughter and you need to make some financial plans. So I'm just wondering what your outlook on that plan is and how you can get there, because 18 months goes by pretty quick.
It sure does. Well, right now we have 5 board members on our thing. It was only 3 at one point, but now we have 5. So we've got wonderful ladies. We've got Chris, Una, myself, Ali, and Alexia. And Ali and Alexia are the techie people. So they do the websites, they do the Ferals Forever Loved. We have email feralsforeverloved at gmail.com. That is the email for the organization. And that is where we accept donations. We have a bank account created for that. So that all goes right to the cats. Right. So that is the only way that we can accept donations at this moment. But we are hoping to grow into that because we do eventually want to rent a building and have a facility to work for.
Councilor Charney.
As I mentioned before, I have reservations with regards to the location, but I would be willing to agree to the 18 months only. And then within that 18 months, you come up with a plan to relocate. But I wouldn't be willing to make this a permanent location for the cat rescue.
And because I've worked with other groups in the past, just correct me if I'm wrong, but when you do take a feral cat and if it is returned spayed, you have to return it to the place that you trapped it.
Yeah.
And the average lifespan is about 3 years for a feral cat, is it not? Or has that changed over the years?
Well, it's about 3 years, or it could be a little longer, depending on what the care is. Like, so for instance, I have a feeding station at my on the property. So I care for about 20 cats. When I got there, they were skin and bones. They didn't have a life expectancy for maybe a year. They would have probably all died. But now they're quite plump. And like I have a camera on them as well, so I monitor them. And if the feral cats that I trap from properties, if they cannot go back to the property that we trapped them from, then unfortunately they get euthanized. But
Councilor Charney again?
Again,
Yep.
thank you. I have to say that I have a cat that was rescued. And it is a cat with an attitude.
Yep.
So I hope that all of the cats that you do relocate have the same great attitude that my rescued cat has.
That's beautiful.
Councilor Egan.
Thank you. I think this is a great idea. And I'm really glad to see that you've brought it up. However, I want to ask staff if we've ever had returned an application fee for a TUP or, because I don't really know that we should be setting a precedent.
Thank you, Your Worship. Not in my time dealing with development services. We haven't, no.
That's the next thing we'll get to. So we have the recommendation in front of us. If there's no more questions, there's questions, no more questions. We have a recommendation, the first one, that council direct staff to approve the temporary use permit for 1326 Vote Street to allow the use of an animal boarding, a cat rescue upon issuance of a building permit. I believe I've had that seconded and yeah. Well, we probably should be putting a friendly amendment in that it is an 18-month one go round. But they can be redone for a second 18 months. They would have to apply for an extension. But if you lay out the groundwork now, 18 months from now, we don't have that situation. So is that the recommendation we would like to see? So who would like to move that recommendation? Councillor Egan, Councillor Olgan. So we're just going to be voting on the recommendation only. Recommendation only is that it is a one-term TUP of 18 months. Any questions on that? All those in favor? Opposed, carried. Back to the original recommendation as I read it with the friendly amendment. All those in favor? Opposed, carried. The next recommendation that council direct staff to waive the temporary use permit application fee of $982.82 by refunding the amount in full. I need a mover on that. Councillor Olgan, Councillor Etchart, questions. Councillor Baxter.
If we did refund this, how many cats would it help?
Oh, okay, so if you did refund that, it costs, with a discount at the vet's office, it cost me $280 to spay one female and $107 to neuter one male. So it would roughly 5 to 8 cats.
Councillor Olgan.
Thank you. Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot recommend this. Again, so we don't want to create some precedents here. There is a process to help all other organizations in the community. And for that, I will have to ask you for financials. I will have to ask you for other information that you are not able to provide because this society is quite new. So, but let me know how I can donate and I will be happy to do it.
I appreciate that. I actually have all of the receipts from everything that I've spent so far. So I do have a baseline of what it costs typically to have the animal vetted. So thank you.
So just so you understand, Melanie, when we sit in these chairs, we have to be very careful of the precedent we set because it can become a field day if we go in the wrong direction. So we basically make the rules and then we have to establish them at this point in time.
For sure.
So we do have the recommendation. It's been moved and seconded for the refund of the $982.82. All those in favor? Opposed? Defeated. So as Councillor Olgan suggested, let us know where we can make donations. And I think that would probably be well within the city's guidelines for you, for the city and everywhere else. So I think your group is exactly what we need and you're doing it the way it's supposed to be done. Credibility is key on something like this. And you've shown that you have credibility. You show your group has credibility. So I see nothing but fantastic things for you. And like I say, 18 months is not long. But I think the city is here to help with information if we can help you with some information along the way. And appreciate you coming tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll move on to 8.3. We have grant and aid deferred item and late applicant. So we have a recommendation that council grant a blank amount to the Citizens on Patrol 2024 contingent on confirmation from RCMP that the Citizens on Parole Society 2024 membership has met the requirements and are enrolled in the RCMP Citizens on Patrol program. Councillor Rogan, Councillor Etchart. Questions, anyone? Councillor Rogan.
So when I reviewed this application, I noticed the budget program, they are requesting 100%. So we have not, supported any of the applications for 100%. So usually it was between 10 to 15% that we were able to help other organizations. As a result, I can just support this application for up to 10%. That would represent $750.
Thank you. Who's next? Counselor Richard?
So did we receive the
No, we have not.
legal documentation? So can
No.
we even really approve this at this point? So that the, Okay.
So CAO?
Oh, yes, yeah.
So we requested a legal response on this. Did we get one?
Not to my knowledge, no. If you make a decision now in support of it contingent on that, we can hold that and re-request and make sure it happens before we provide the funds.
So this request has been made 5 times over the last 9 months. And each time it's been ignored. The one situation that we have put out there is the fact that this group is not certified to be doing what they're doing, and by us supporting it puts us in a liability situation. And that's what we want removed from a legal perspective, and we haven't received that legal perspective as of yet. Counselor,
well, I would,
okay,
the other half of my question was if we did get confirmation that it was legal group that was certified, that I would be in support of going to the 1,000 because that's what we've given to most of the other groups. But anyway.
Counselor Charney.
I think we have to make sure we are in the legal position to support this group, and I would be willing to go to the 750.
Counselor Baxter.
I am willing to go to the 750, but I'm not sure that we should even be voting on this at this time. As if they have already ignored our request for the last 9 months, I don't feel like we should move forward until we actually have all the documentations, then make the decision, because what if they never come back for the next year?
And the thing is the city wants to support this group. We really do. They're doing a job that we, they're helping out. But unfortunately, the RCMP do not see it that way. And we've been instructed that they are not legitimate at this point in time, in their view. But they do good work and we would like to support them. And I've made it very clear the city wants to be part of this. But until we have legal confirmation, we can't put the city in jeopardy. It's that simple. Councilor Rogan.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that this is contingent of this organization meeting the requirements. So I think that, like you said, they have received a lot of support from the city as well as the community, and we want to show good faith in this organization. So it's up to them to meet the requirements. Okay. If not, they don't get the assistance.
So what we have in front of us is 750 and one offer for 1,000. So I've already got this moved and seconded. Do I? Yes. No. Yep. Yep. Okay. And who moved it? Who seconded it? You seconded it? You moved it? Okay. I gotta mark this down. So recommendation on 750. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. 750 on contingency. Okay, thank you. Second recommendation, that council approve the late 2026 in-kind grant and aid request as follows. Nicola Valley Food Bank, a blank amount there, but it's in front of you if you so choose to have a look at it. Councillor Baxter with your hand up, but mic not on. Oh, you're seconding? Councillor Baxter seconds. Councillor Ogan as well. Questions or queries on this, Councillor Charney?
Well, I see that they are asking for an in-kind, and then on their paperwork, they're asking for a financial aid. So what are they asking for, financial or in-kind?
So this is so they can have their annual general meeting at the Civic Center.
Okay, so then it is not financial, which they have filled in. Here again is, they're asking for $381.15, 100% of their fundraising, which we haven't supported before. And I also look at their assets. They have a total of $112,840.69 in assets, total cash assets. So I would like to money to go to a group that doesn't have accumulated assets like the food bank has. And I am wholeheartedly behind what the food bank does. But I think when they have this much cash, they can afford the $381.
Thank you. Councillor Rogan.
So I am on the other side, so I feel that every penny counts. And I do understand that they are requesting 100% of that. Just keep in mind that other organizations applied for in-kind support and it was around 1,000, 1,200. So compared with this amount, it's minimum. And comparing the support that they provide in the community, I am in favor.
Councillor Etchart.
I echo the comments of Councillor Ogan. Some of the other groups, I think it was the Otter Swim Club, they had an in-kind rental for 1,400 and we approved that one, I think at the 100%, because that was their ask, the rental of the building. And this is essentially the same thing. And it's just to have enough space to encourage membership and donations. And they're struggling right now with a high number of increased number of users at the food bank. And I think right now, if it's something that we can do to support the vulnerable community, I think we need to do that.
Councillor Baxter. Oh, Councillor Baxter.
I think the money they have sitting in their bank account is for their eventual building of their new building once they actually construct it. And I know they're struggling right now for money. I think this would be a great thing just to support them and show them that we're behind them 100% and that we believe in them.
Councillor Egan.
Thank you. I was just wondering, have we supported them in the past though, with things like this, in kind or by donation?
We have over the years supported the food bank on several things. In kind has been one. We support them to a certain degree as council when we do coldest night of the year walk, etc. So yes, we have supported them in the past. Yes, we have.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Thank you. Any other questions? So we do have a motion that council approve the late 2026 in-kind grant aid request as follows. Nicola Valley Food Bank, $381. I've had that moved and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Notices of motion. CAO report. Oh, sorry. Report. Why do I always miss that? Reports from council. Nobody? Oh, Councillor Ogan. Councillor Ogan, you're up.
Okay, so Saturday, February 28th, I attended the coldest night of the year. It was a very well attended event, my first time for me. So I really enjoyed the walk. That was on Tuesday, March the 3rd, I attended the CAL meeting. On Wednesday, March 14th, I attended TNB. We had the meeting at the new location, the Hall of Fame, for those ones who didn't know. On Friday, March 6th, I attended the budget special council meeting. And last Saturday, March 7th, I attended the grand opening with our MLA, Tony Long.
Councillor Petrosi.
Echoing Councillor Olgun said, Tuesday, March 3rd, attended the CAL. Friday, March 6th, the budget review, council chambers. And Saturday, March 7th, MLA Tony Luck's grand opening at his office. It was excellent. So, and good luck to Tony.
Mr. Charney.
On February 26th, I attended the Age Friendly and Accessibility Committee, and they discussed the Age Friendly Accessibility Plan for Merit, which is a very extensive document, well written. The common theme that came out through the 115 pages were uneven sidewalks within the community, snow removal for the downtown area, and lack of benches. And I think through the CAO and the mayor, I think all of those issues were addressed and concerns dealt with. I also that day went to the open house at the fire hall and had a great talk with Chief and Gareth Tilt. I only was going to go for a few minutes, and it was an hour and a half later when I left. A police support program, and actually it was very interesting. While we were there, a call came in, and I just loved seeing the young guys. Just, I mean, they were scooting. I thought to myself, to be 50 years younger. But no, it was an excellent open house, and it was nice to see. March 3rd, the CAL meeting. March 5, policy review. March 6 was the budget meeting on the Saturday. March 7th, Tony Luck's breakfast for his new office. And it was nice to talk to Denise O'Connor, the mayor of Lytton, and Frank Caputo, our MP. and other community members. I think it was well attended. I was there for maybe about 45 minutes, and people were coming and going, and it was always seemed crowded. He's done an excellent job on his building, and so yes, wish him all the luck.
Councilor Regan.
Oh, thank you. I pretty much went to most of these things. March 3rd was the cow, the 5th was policy review, the 6th, the budget, the 7th meeting with Tony Luck, or breakfast with Tony Luck, and we've got some pictures to show eventually.
You still on, Councilor? Have you done your report?
Not yet.
Councilor Etchard, I thought you did. Councilor Etchard, you're up.
Wow. February 25th, I went to a Phelan Housing Society meeting. The residents are pretty happy with their little unit, making plans for the spring, and being close to the senior center, it's kind of convenient. And I suggested that maybe they work with the senior society to host some events together, being their walk apart. February 26th, I attended the age-friendly committee meeting with Councillor Charney and the mayor. It's interesting to hear some of the comments and some of the problems. March the 3rd was the strategic cow meeting that we had. March 5th, policy review. Budget meeting last Friday, which was interesting. And I attended the opening of MLA Tony Luck's office, which was very interesting. A lot of citizens, some old familiar faces, some new ones. Even some of the EA directors showed up. I know Director Thorpe, who sits in Silga, she showed up. It was nice to see some faces, and I think we all made it at some time or another, and it was really nice to get everybody out there.
Myself, I went to the Fire Hall open house, which was really glad the chief put that on. It was neat to see all the equipment. You know, when you do budget and you do hear what they're wanting to buy, and then you actually see it and you see how it works, it's pretty impressive stuff. It really is. On the 26th, I had our second meeting with the 5 mayor flood mitigation group. That's the mayor of Abbotsford, the mayor of Hope, the mayor of Chilliwack, the mayor of Princeton, and myself. We have formed a group to take to FCM and beyond to get federal funding and mitigation that was promised to the communities. And under the Prime Minister's new Canada Open Corridor, where we're open from coast to coast, we're calling him on that because twice now there's been a closure of coast to coast with Abbotsford being flooding. There was also promises made. Anyways, we're working on that. I have contacted Enbridge to give us a letter of support because our pipeline was exposed. I talked with Trans Mountain today. They're going to give us a letter of support. I met with Frank Caputo the next day on this, and he will be involved with it as well. We'll be talking to the Trucking Association and all First Nations that are involved in that immediate area for working on this. So we're working more and closer to it. We feel that as 5 mayors approaching the federal government, there's more involvement here than just one mayor. So we're working on that and we're making towards it. Age accessibility on the 26th, great meeting. This group has done a lot of work, especially with one of our attendees, Chris in a wheelchair, and Sue, who's blind. Chris has pointed out a lot of things to us, and thank you to the CAO and the City Works crew for starting to grind down those high spots so the chairs can move. If you go to the crossing at the post office, that button has now moved to the side, so people who are in wheelchairs don't have to hug that stupid telephone pole, can actually do it. So we are seeing things that are starting to happen with this group. So I'm very impressed with the work that they do. They're very invested and they enjoy being part of it. On the 27th, I was one of 18 invitees to Aspen Planers to meet Carolyn Elliott, the conservative one running for the conservative leadership. We had an hour-and-a-half meeting with her, brought a lot of things forward to see where she stands and what she's looking at. So it was a good meeting and she heard a lot from us. And then later that day, I met with Tony Luck. We discussed several things in the valley, such as Aspen Planers and other things that could be a problem in the community or what's ramping up. On the 3rd of March, I met with the RCMP, our annual mayor RCMP meeting. CAO was there. We went over the report that you have here and some of the other things that are happening. We had a cow meeting that night. And then on the 4th, I met with Frank Caputo. We talked about the 5 mayors, but also he has asked myself and to give him and the community to give him things that we feel that we should be looking at. And of course, the things that I sent to him were the flood mitigation, the victim services, that we're trying to get in here, transit problems and RCMP costing. You all saw the prime situation that you got the prime raise of $1,700 per officer for the next 5 years. Getting to the point where we can no longer support this kind of increase. So he is willing to take that. He will send a letter back, which you will all look at, and then we'll approve that letter and off it'll go. March the 5th, TNRD, special budget meeting on the 6th, and went to the Tony Luck constituency office where my granddaughter managed to pilfer 7 of those little popsicle things. So I made her put 4 back. So anyway, it was great. So, well, they were probably gone by the time you got there. I got out to the truck and she had like 7 of them. So, and it was your wife's fault, by the way. She said, take more. Anyone else? CAO report. Yeah, what you see there. Any questions on the CAO report? It's not as extensive as last one, but it doesn't have to be. Once a month. You have the RCMP monthly update in front of you. Any questions on that? Council resolutions, always good to see what we've done and what we haven't. You got information items in front of you. Nicola Valley Pro Rodeo Association sponsorship, Merit Stock Car Association, and forestry is a solution. Councillor Etchart.
They were asking for the forestry as a solution, being that we just had the presentation for the wildfire assessment and reduction of fuels and whatnot. Should we make that a motion to support it and send a letter? Because that's what they were looking for as a recommendation to support.
If you'd like
it.
to make that recommendation.
Okay, I'd like to make a recommendation that we send a letter of support.
Councillor Egan, any questions or comments on that?
I wish they were, able to provide a quick presentation to council because I have any questions for them.
Yeah.
So, I know it's a good initiative, but we have to understand what is going to be our position by supporting this project.
Okay.
Well, a lot of the points that they listed in there about working with communities and supporting mills and wood for the local areas and stuff like that are some of the topics that are facing problems in communities all over BC, and that's what they addressed in their information. And I thought that the information they sent was good, and that's why I think we need to support that because Merritt, Lillooet, all of the communities, even on the island, are suffering. So anyway.
Councillor Egan, comment on that?
Yeah, I would just like to add to what Councillor Etchart said. It says on page 2, the requests of council officially endorse the forestry as a solution campaign, encourage community members to visit their site to sign a petition and send a letter to their MLA, the Minister of Forests, the Premier, and the official opposition, and support staff to share information about forestry as a solution through our community's official communication channels, which we didn't really get to. But
there's the opportunity to do so.
Yes, and I think it's really just a letter of support that they're looking for, Councillor Olgan. And the other thing I wanted to bring up too, which in regards to the Rodeo Association, they are having their annual general meeting on Thursday, and they've got some exciting news. I was talking to Peter Spencer about it yesterday, and looks good. Sounds good. So you should all go.
Okay. So we do have a recommendation.
Pardon?
Thursday.
Probably Hall thing.
It is Thursday. Yeah, 6 p.m. at the Hall of Honor is mixed, and then 7 p.m. is the meeting. We have a recommendation of the letter support. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Anything else that we want to talk about there? We do have the Nicola Valley Pro Rodeo sponsorship, which is kind of already in our situation. The Stock Car Association is looking for a letter of support from the city for a small nonprofit operates in blah, 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 blah. They're currently applying for a grant to be able to expand and grow our events. So they are looking for a letter of support. Councillor Egan, Councillor Baxter, Councillor Olgan.
I am in favor of providing this letter of support, but we need to know what application they are applying for, so we cannot just provide an open letter of support. Many times we support more than one organization, and if we provide the letter of support for the same grant, so that can be an issue. So it's just like, okay, let us know what application you're applying for and we will provide the letter of support.
So I would suggest maybe that we send a letter to this, letting them know that we are in support, but we need to know what the grant looks like. Because we could very well be applying for the exact same grant. And we have said that if that's happening, we will actually step away for a smaller group to take it. So I think what we'll do is we'll put this letter on hold. Again, we've got to do it, so we got to get it in documentation form so you can actually see what it is. So I would say that we will get a letter off to them saying, hey, we're in favor, but we need to know what the grant looks like and what you're applying for. Are we okay with that? Do I need to make a motion that way, or can we just do that as information? Okay, thank you. Well, it may be done quicker than that. I mean, it simply can go out in an email, right? So anyways.
You wanted to make a motion regarding providing the letter subject to knowing what that is and there's no conflicts, you could do that if you like.
Yep, that's Councillor Egan, Councillor Hogan, that's exactly what we'll do. All those in favor? Opposed, carried. Anything else that anybody has? Councillor Hogan.
Okay, so let's talk about the sponsorship. So where are we at with that? Just
which sponsorship?
For the Nicola Valley Pro Rodeo.
CFO? CFO.
So there's $5,000 in council's budget that's available for being that level of sponsorship if council so chooses.
Would that come from the Grant in Aid fund or this is a different funding?
No, it's budgeted under a separate GL.
And they receive also a Grant in Aid, correct?
No. No.
That's
no.
There's something.
No, so they were at one point in time getting all three. And now was a decision making time. So decision is the sponsorship. Okay. Councillor Egan.
This is out of order. Can I talk about the budget? Can I ask a question about the budget?
I don't see why not, as long as it's not an in-camera situation.
Oh, was an item about the airport road accident? It's the road. It's called Airport Road, is it not?
It starts as Airport
We're
Road.
going to target 600,000 for resurfacing. I'm just wondering if that one, if we could talk about it being delayed or maybe put towards another road.
So did CFO, did we move forward with that resurfacing? Or?
So that currently, it might have actually been in last year's bylaw, so it might not have been on your voting list for this year because it was already in a bylaw. Now, if we haven't contracted the work, it might still be open for council's direction on that, but it was in last year's bylaw, both Houston and Airport Road. And that's why we went to voted on it on Friday.
Okay.
CFO?
Thank you, Worship. The airport road specifically has some fairly significant failures in it. That's why it's been flagged for some work.
And it didn't seem that bad.
There's two fairly significant dips right in behind Walmart, one very close to the septic site. And then as you're going around the corner, there's a lot of cracking, so the bank's starting to destabilize, and we're starting to see some ripping and tearing and some asphalt pushing up on the corner, which is getting dangerous.
Okay, so you would have to build a support for that where it's starting to fall away?
You would, in those areas, you would dig it up, restructure it, and amalgamate the surface again, and then pave again. Yeah. That's why it's in there.
Okay. Councillor Charney.
I also went and checked that road, and I also drive on Lindley Creek Road quite a lot. And there is a bigger dip in Lindley Creek Road, and on the right-hand side coming back into town is in terrible condition. And I find Colchana Avenue in worse condition than I do the Airport Road. I agree there is a dip on that Airport Road. Looks like there was a pipe or something put underneath there and it's dipped. So I'm just wondering if we could just repair that dip, and because on those big pieces of paper, it said it came from reserve funds, the 600,000. correct?
CFO.
So it is funded out of unrestricted reserves. We haven't saved enough on the transportation reserve. We're only contributing 100,000 a year
Okay.
transfers on the transport side, which is sidewalks, roads and bridges. So it is coming out of unrestricted currently.
Okay, so I would like to see maybe just a repair in that one dip and not spend the 600,000 on the complete overlay on the road. And if we have to, I would also look at some other roads that are in worse condition than the airport road. So I'm not in favor of the 600,000 on that road.
So I suggest somebody make a motion.
If I may, your worship.
Yep.
Just to respond to that. That road and Houston were prioritized largely because of the heavy truck traffic on them and damage being done to the road. If they do get deferred much longer, we're gonna lose a lot more of the road and the repair costs are gonna go up quite a bit as we're getting more into the base. We have isolated spots right now that have given way that are into the base, but when that rutting from all that heavy truck traffic starts getting more thorough all along the length of the road, we're gonna be losing the whole thing. So with the amount of truck traffic on that one and Houston, those two roads are large industrial type roads that we're using right now. That's why they've been prioritized in the budget. Just so you know.
So what would it cost just to fix that dip area? And then that other area where you're talking about the rutting?
Well, we haven't gone to the point of breaking that out yet, because we haven't done the full design on it. The large dip itself has some fairly significant utility lines under it, and it's been repaired before superficially, and it's down another couple of feet again. So I think at least once since I've been here, they've leveled up, and that's where it is already again. So there's something major going on underneath there, and it's going to continue to get worse. My worry is that when there's lines across a spot like that, what are the lines doing themselves? There's water and sewer running through there. So if there's that much deformation in the area, what's happening to the lines?
So could
Right.
you try and give us an estimate of what just the repair instead of the complete overlay of that road would be?
If you would prefer us to go that route, we can readjust, do some estimating up on that and reduce the project to the visible specific issues. Just bearing in mind, when you're dealing with asphalt in the loaded lanes, specifically, you start seeing wheel path rutting. And when the wheel path rutting gets to a depth where the asphalt's getting wore out and thinned up, you're starting to get a lot of base damage because then the base is starting to move. When it starts cracking, water gets in. That area around the corner where it's cracking and pulling already, a lot of that starts at load damage, gets water into it. When it gets water into it, the loads get on it and it gets worse. So
what heavy traffic is at the airport road?
somebody thought it would be a great idea to put a truck fill down there.
We see about 100 trucks a month and they're heavy. They're giant, heavy. And then in the summertime, you're looking at all the fuel trucks that fight the wildfires. And then you're looking at the compost plant. How many trucks do we send up there a week? One or two? Or three or four?
Well, we've got what is that thing? A single or double axle
single.
truck that's out there 3 times a week. Yeah.
It's the water trucks that are, especially when the pipeline was running. We were probably running 200 trucks a week at one point. It's hard on that road. It was never designed for that fill station to be where it's at. And then we also have people that are from the valley that have the ability to take water. They buy water through a key fob. So they are taking 5,000 gallons out of there as well. There's a lot of action up there at that water fill site. And it's heavy. Those trucks are heavy trucks. I mean, water is what, a gallon's 10 pounds, correct? So these things are 100,000 gallons. So they're extremely heavy and they are literally beating the hell out of that road. It's unfortunate. And I agree with the CAO that fill station was put in the completely wrong spot. And
Pardon me?
no,
that's
it's on the other side. The big dip by Walmart was when we ran back in 2012, when we ran the water sewer across so we could put water sewer on the airport. That was dug out, but I don't think it was ever filled back in correctly. And it continually, but then again, the amount of weight that flies over that road and those guys on those trucks fly like there's no tomorrow, even with weight on them. They don't have respect for the road at all. And the other thing that we're running into is up at the airport when they come in unloaded, they make the big turnaround And when they're loaded, they make another big turnaround and they're tearing everything apart up there with that. So it's a terrible spot for a truck fill. But there we have it. So there is some action. And the only situation is, I mean, if that road does give way with one of those trucks on it and we knew about it, then we're in trouble. So just be aware of that fact as well. So I really wish that we could, I think what we should at some point talk about is relocation of that water situation, because it's not good where it is. It's actually quite terrible, to be honest. But if anybody would like to make a motion on that, or we can just continue to talk about it, would you like some sort of a, Councillor Hogan?
It feels that council may need some options.
Yes.
To consider.
I agree.
So if we can just, add them to the next agenda.
Yeah, so, depending on where you're at with the budget, if you want to leave it alone for now, we'll bring options back before we start any work on it and price them out, and we can potentially reduce the budget later. I don't know when we're going to be able to get to doing the work on doing the estimating, but we can prioritize it. I'm just not sure we're going to have everything done by the time you approve the budget, but we won't spend any money on it until you agree on what the solution is going to be.
Councillor Charlie.
Do we still have a cap on new capital projects? Didn't we put a moratorium in on the budget?
Yeah, until you approve the budget.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So you approve the budget, yeah. Anything else? We are terminated. Thank you, everyone.